everyone, Happy New Year. Hope everyone had a really good festive season and a nice new year. Back to work and everything back to normal now, sadly. And the weather here is pretty atrocious, really cold, windy, wet, drab, horrible. Anyway, so cheer ourselves up, kind of more crafting. So I've got another journal here to show you. This is another one of my altered mini albums, my 6x6 mini albums, because I think I've mentioned before, but I had quite a few that I'd kind of semi-done, so I'd kind of just stuck the paper on the covers and created a few inserts. So obviously I don't want to kind of waste them or anything, so I have been altering them. I think this is my third one that I've altered. And they're actually really great fun to do, and I've been really pleased with the results, so I thought I would do another one and just bringing it here to show you now. So I'm going to try and whiz through my video a bit quicker than normal. So it's a ring bound album. It's held by kind of these quite big rings. I think they might be 1.5 inch. The front is obviously covered with scrapbook paper that's been distress inked. And then I've got some old vintage thesaurus paper that's been distress inked. I've got some vintage sheet music. And then I've got this vintage book, which I'll show in a second, that I've been using images for in this particular journal. And then I've got various different bits of lace. These are not vintage, they are lace from my stash. However, I have got this, and this is that bridal lace with the sequins, really beautiful, that I've coffee stained that. But then I do have this vintage fabric trim that I've just stitched a ruffle on the sewing machine. I've got a little tiny tassel that's just held on a bulb pin there. And then this kind of fabric like upholstery trim with some tassels. Again, I've been kind of trying to use up stuff on my desk. As per my last journal, so still got a lot of things on the desk. So this one's got a mixture of laces and things. So finally bought some of those Tim Holtz hitch posts. So this one's obviously fastened with one of those, so that's just there. I've got a fabric flower that I made with a pearl centre, and it's obviously just got the hairband closure, and the back is just plain scrapbook paper. Inside the journal, so on this front inside cover, it's got some more scrapbook paper forming a large pocket. I've got an altered paper clip there with just some lace and that upholstery tassel trim. And then I've got a little tag here. This was one of the ones that I had made kind of pre-journal days. So I've just kind of altered it a little bit by sticking some more bits on and vintaged it up, and then using this stamp, which actually I'll show you those in a second as well. Then I've just got this little flip, which I bought this book of different stamps from around the world quite a while ago. I've coffee stained them and been cutting the stamps out. There's some beautiful images. This one's from Australia from 1854. Beautiful. So this is just a little flip, and obviously just held shut with the stamp itself. And that's just coffee stained paper, so that just paper clips on there. I'm not going to put things back today. So inside the pocket, I've got one of the sewing pattern little booklets. Got this idea from some Happy Mail from Angie Bunner. She had used some and kind of done it in this format. And then on the front, I've got one of those images from the vintage book that I've used quite a bit in this journal, so that goes in there. Then I've just got some sheet music here, and then on the back of the sheet music, using another book that I've been using quite a bit recently. I've just got an image from the book that I've coffee stained, and I've just created a little fold back kind of flip thing here. And so on the back of there, I've just glued on some coffee stained paper for journaling. So that's that. Then here I've got a belly band. It's got some obviously sheet music on there. It's got a vintage typewriter from the Tim Holtz stamps, doily, some lace. And then I've got a policy envelope. There's nothing actually in there. It's just got some string that it's attached with. So that's that. And it's just one that I've made from some scrapbook paper. Obviously you can put things in there. So that's that. And then on the front, I've just got some more scrapbook paper that's all been coffee stained, and some images from the book, which have been distress inked. Most of the images that have been coffee stained, or the papers that have been coffee stained, I've distress inked as well for kind of extra grunginess. So this journal is really quite grungy. Then tried to cover up the back of that scrapbook paper because I didn't really like it. It had these big circles, which obviously when I coffee dyed it, they really kind of emphasised them. So here I've made a pocket here from a little wage envelope, and then I've just stamped around it and layered it up with some images from the vintage book and some scrapbook paper. Got some sheet music and some lace at the top, and then it's just got a little pull-out tag here, just with this stamped image and some lace. And then here I've just got a plain sheet of coffee stained paper just for journaling. Here I've got some more sheet music, and this was a little tag that I found from my little cherubs, angels and cherubs journal that I did, that I obviously forgot then, or kind of left that one out. So that one's just, I just attached that with a bulb pin. And then on the next page, obviously the back of that sheet music, I've just created one of those clusters that I've been making loads of since I was inspired from Laura with my Happy Mail. So this one's just got some fabric, it's got another one of those stamps, and then it's got an image of a vintage camera. And then I've made a little pull-out tag here with another vintage image of a building. Got some lace and things, and that just slots in there. But I also did an altered paper clip with some more of that lovely bridal lace and another little lace flower, just to kind of secure it, because otherwise it did kind of slip out a little bit, even though it is tucked in there. So I thought I'd just hold it in a little bit more with the paper clip. So that's that. And then on the next page here, I've got a little fold out booklet, which is forming a pocket. So behind there, I've just got a stamped image there. That is just a little tag. And then this has got some of this gorgeous iridescent binding stuff. So that's just a little fold up booklet thing for journaling or photos. Obviously, when this was just to be a 6x6 mini album, obviously it would have been for photos, but actually now I don't see why you couldn't use it for journaling. So that's that. It's just got some lace and a bow, little frame. I love using the frames. Flower, another stamp, and then another one of these stamped images in the corner. So on this page, I've got a pocket formed from the vintage book with these lovely botanical kind of images. And then here in the pocket, I've just got another altered paper clip just with some lace and a fabric ruffle and some pearl trim. And that's just holding this closed, which is literally just some coffee stained paper that I've folded over to create a kind of booklet there. So I'll just hold that like that. And then just in the corner, I've got another one of those clusters with a butterfly and some lace and things. That is vintage lace, and so is that in the corner. And then here, now I saw somebody's video, trying to remember now whose it was. I will link her below if it doesn't come to me before I finish this video. She'd done a sewing journal, and her mum had created this kind of fold out flip that was just beautiful. So I wanted to have a go at doing that. So kind of held it shut here with this image, which I had some pictures many years ago, about 15 years ago. They were huge pictures, and they were on my living room wall. Obviously haven't had them up for many years now, so decided to take the prints out, which were kind of stunning images. And in fact, I've got loads of bits that I've cut off of the images, but the centre bit was a vintage clock. I'm not sure how I'm going to use it because it's actually quite big, the actual centre bit, but really stunning. So I should be using those. So this was from that anyway. So it's quite thickish kind of cardstock, and it just tucks into this vintage lady that I've stamped. So this, oops, little straggler there. So this tucks in, and I've also made a pocket at the top here. So when it's closed, it's actually a pocket. I've got one of those fold out little flips. So that just tucks in at the top like that. And then also inside here is a little kind of pad here with just some coffee stained paper and some sheet music, and then a bit of lace trim at the top. As I say, not my idea. Pinched this from somebody else's really gorgeous journal, so yeah. Then here on this page, I've just got this little pocket made from this Morse code kind of dictionary, I suppose you call it, page of Morse code. And then I've put this vintage tassel trim down the side. Couldn't quite fit the last tassel, so I had to cut it off, and that's what's hanging on the bulb pin on the front. So that's that. And then inside there, held shut with another altered paper clip with some lace and pearls, is another one of those little flip books. And this time I've also stapled in some coffee stained paper just to kind of alter it a little bit to how it was originally created. So that's that. And that just tucks in like that. And then on this side, this was this particular piece was part of the cover of some vintage sheet music, so it's slightly thicker. Really like it and thought it just went really nicely with the album. So on this side I've then got a kind of semi-cluster, I suppose. It's not very layered, but I've just got this piece of script paper with some lace and a little tiny journaling spot, and then a file folder down here that I've just layered up with an image from the vintage book of botanical images and some lace. And then obviously inside that is the pocket, and I've just put one of these acetate frames. Really love those. So that's in there, and then plenty of space for journaling. Got some more sheet music. And then on this page I have made one of these clusters at the bottom. It's got a stamp, a little kind of stamped image of a kind of label, some lace, and another one of those flowers. I've just stapled this one together as per the Jessica Rapp videos that I've been watching. And then here I've just made a little booklet with some coffee stained paper, more space for journaling in there, so that just tucks in like that. And then on the back just a little bit of stamping, left it plain for journaling. This is some greaseproof paper which I've coffee stained and put in the oven, and then some more coffee stained paper just with a stamped image. Tried to leave quite a bit of room for journaling because sometimes I can over decorate and then there's not much space, so I've tried not to do that. This one came out really interesting. I don't know whether it got burnt in the oven or whether it kind of got over coffee dyed from other papers, but clearly something was laying over it here. But love the way that turned out. Just think it's so grungy and vintage, so really like that. And then I just put this little white lace kind of flower in the corner with a pearl in the middle, because I thought that showed up so nicely on that gorgeous paper. And then on this page here, it's again quite plain, but I've just put some lace trim here, and then one of those die cut stamped images, and then a tag here made from again one of the images from the book, and then some greaseproof paper sat in between that and some just coffee stained cardstock. It's just got a lace tab there. Then on the back of that I've just literally put a couple of stamped images, and then here just got some sheet music. And then on this page I've just got one of those floating pockets that I quite like using. That term used by Amity Bloom. Then altered paper clip holds this on, so it's just some scrapbook paper that I've distress inked. I've got some sheet music, this gorgeous image from the book of kind of vintagey historical buildings and things, and then a little twine bow. The back's just plain other than this stamped rose. And then inside is another little just tag from the book of images. So that just paper clips on there. I'll paper clip that on in a minute. And then I've just got another sheet, or obviously the back of that sheet, sorry, of the coffee dyed paper. Then here I've got some more of that scrapbook paper that I wasn't overly keen on, so again tried to cover up most of it. So I have obviously made a pocket with some more scrapbook paper, so it's all been distress inked. This has been coffee dyed, and I've just got a little fold out flip of some coffee dyed paper. So that just tucks in like that, and then I've just got a tag here. and that's just got some of this, oh gosh, what's the name of this, raffia kind of stuff here at the top. So it just tucks in like that. And then on the back again, tried to cover up most of that paper. So I've got a big doily in the middle, I've got some lace here down the side, and then I've got a cluster here in the corner with a kind of scrapbook flower and some lace trim and some book page and a Tim Holtz butterfly. And then that just forms obviously a little tuck for another tag from the book. That goes in there. Then some more coffee dyed paper. And then on this page I've just got a flip here and a stamped image of a postcard. So the postcard is a pocket, which again I've got another little booklet made from the coffee stained paper and the little book of images. So that's there. That just tucks in at the top. And then here I've got a fold up little flip, and inside there it's also a pocket, so I tucked this one in down the side of just some coffee stained, slightly thicker than paper, and it's actually slightly glossy, and it's got a perpetual kind of calendar on there. So that just tucks in, and I quite liked it kind of folding over, so it was kind of half in and half out, if you know what I mean. And another one of those beautiful rose stamps. Oops, like that. And then on the next page I've just got some more of that stuff from the picture that used to be in my living room. It had some kind of writing on there, so I've torn that off to form a pocket. I've put some trim down the side here with the tassels, and then here just a little tag, and then a little fold out coffee dyed scrapbook paper with a little rose stamp. And then on this page I've got some more of that Hessian or burlap that I've painted in the ivory, and then I've layered it with some lace and some of this tulle fabric, and that's obviously creating a pocket, and inside that pocket is another image from the book with some, this is actually some vintage doily that I managed to buy from a charity shop. And then this is some more of those pretty flowers. The flowers are all off some trim that was gifted to me by my friend at work, her mum again. Then here I've made another little pocket on the bottom of this page, just by layering up obviously an image from the book and then some scrapbook paper. Put one of those stamped postcards, hopefully you can see that, and then I've just put some ribbon, kind of tried to do it a bit wonky, kind of, you know, semicircular. And then another bit of that vintage doily, another flower, and then just a little tag at the top, which I loved how this tag turned out for some reason. I mean, it's literally just scrapbook paper and just got this image of this rose and the music sheet stamp. But I just really inked it up, and it just, I love it for some reason. I don't know why, but I really like it. And just stapled on one of those flowers. I've got another one of those clusters here, which has got various elements and a butterfly and things, and that's just creating obviously a little tuck spot for this, which is made from actually a brown like paper bag. So just created a little fold out there and layered up on the front some images from the book with some scrapbook paper. That just tucks in there like that. More stamping and another flower. And then on the next page I just did some decoupage napkin here on the directly onto the scrapbook paper, and then it's got another one of those clusters, another one of those images actually from the picture from my living room, and then this is just like a fold up flap. It's got obviously journaling space there, and obviously you could journal all underneath it, and then another one of those little fold up kind of flip books, just there stapled, and then got some lace trim. And that's just held on with one of these bulldog clip things at the top. And then here just some scrapbook paper just with some lace down the side, left the back of that plain. And then here I've just got another image from the book, which I've just layered up with a lovely bird stamped image, some lace, and then a little cluster in the corner. Loving these clusters. I'm going to be just making them madly all the time now because they're really quite addictive to make, I have to say. And tucked in there, I've just got a page from the book, which I've obviously cut down to size. And then I've got one of those die cut shapes as a kind of closure for the envelope. So I've just made a kind of folding envelope-y thing. And inside there, I've got a mason jar on acetate, got a printable of a postcard, and then I've just got a little flip book thing of some coffee dyed paper, and some coffee dyed paper also from another book that I've been using. So that's that. And then on the next page I've got one of these corner tucks. It's just scrapbook paper. It's been layered up with lace and some pearl kind of trim there, hopefully you can see. And then tucked under there, it's just got a frame. Oops, forgot that I'd actually done that on the back of a card, so I'll replace that with a plain one. And then this one is a tag there. So they both just, oops, slot in there. And then on this page, this is just, again, some of the sheet music. I've just made a belly band with this kind of upholstery trim that was laying around on my desk. I thought kind of matched the journal well. Just got this image from the book of kind of buildings and vintage images and things. And then in the corner, I've done a kind of cluster with the vintage doily and a postcard and that little heart stamped frame. Quite like that. It's backed onto just cardstock, coffee stain cardstock. And then the back I've left plain. I've got some coffee dyed paper, in fact a couple of sheets that I've actually left completely plain. Then I've just got some sheet music here, decoupage napkin, and one of those fabric images that I like to do with the Hessian, and some doily. And then on the back of that I've got another one of those pockets that I made with one of the wage envelopes. So again, I stamped some images in the corners, distressed it up, and then layered up image from the book. I've put some doily down the side and this little butterfly and a flower here, and then here just a little flip book that just tucks in the pocket like that. So there's loads and loads of room for journaling in this book, as you can see. Then on this page it's just some coffee stain paper, and I've got another one of those little bits from the doily and one of these die cut envelopes, punched out envelopes actually, but just went really nicely. And then on the back it's just plain other than this stamped image. And then here on the very back of the inside cover I've got this fold out flip, and then this layered up cluster which again got kind of various little bits to journal on. And then this particular one I just literally glued right down the middle here so that there was a tuck spot either side. And that seemed to work quite well actually. So here I've got just a fold out piece of coffee dyed paper with a stamped image, so that just tucks in that side. And then up here I've just got this little fold out tiny weeny bit, and again this from the cover of the music sheet music booklet, and that just tucks in like that stamped image. I had a little bit of an accident and smudged some ink on there, so that's a bit of a shame, but actually I thought it added to it and made it look quite vintagey and quite nice. So something kind of charming about it. So that's that. So that's the completed journal. Hope you like it. I was quite pleased how it turned out. And then just before I go, I just want to show you a couple of things. So the stamps that I used were from this set of stamps here from a shop called The Range. They were only, I think, £1.99 or £2.50. They were really super cheap. I actually only bought them for this mason jar, which I just loved, and I've used it quite a few times already. For some reason, always stamp it on acetate, because for some reason I kind of feel, being a jar, it should be clear, but anyway. And I didn't really think that I would ever actually use the other stamps. I couldn't really see that I would have much use for them. But actually, this is the first time that I have used them in this journal. And I love them. I love these flowers. This is the kind of rose that's on the corners. And this is that long kind of rose. And then I've used this one here that was these daisies or gerberas or something. And just this kind of leaf. I haven't used this one yet, or these two. But yeah, really, really thrilled with those stamps. So I just wanted to show you those. That's the stamps. And then this was the book that I took the images from. So it's called The All Picture Book of General Knowledge, and it's dated, if I can find it, well, it was given to somebody in the Christmas of 1956. So I don't know whether I can find an actual copyright date for it anywhere. I feel like I couldn't find one when I looked before, but no, I don't think I could find a copyright date. But anyway, I mean 1956, so either they gave it used or it was new in 1956. But it's full of the most fascinating images, and it's got all different sections. So obviously I took images for this book from the botanical kind of themed images. But here we've got kind of camouflage and mimicry, so kind of animals and things, and then all of these lives of birds, beautiful bird images here that, you know, I'm going to use. Obviously the history of clocks here, they're gorgeous images, all sorts of different things, Queen Victoria's England, like lots and lots of really nice images. And actually I think for the time, kind of just very colourful and, you know, really, really, really lovely. Look at that beautiful page there. So really like this book, and actually kind of I've had it for several weeks now and was wondering how I was going to use it. So I just kind of had a little like eureka moment and thought, I'm going to use it with that journal. So that's where all those images of the kind of flowers and kind of plant related images came from. And I just thought I would show you the book, because really just lovely, lovely, lovely book. And the pages are quite thick too, which is really nice. So yeah, just thought I would show you kind of so you know where those images all actually came from in the journal. So hope you like it, and thanks very much for watching. I'm currently working on you know, that I'm going to be listing shortly, and also working on my giveaway. So I've already completed a kind of smallish journal, I think I might have mentioned this before, made from the Goodwood Festival of Speed, actually no, the Goodwood Revival booklet. So it's made from that, so it's quite a smallish journal, but really, you know, quite nice, lots of pockets and tucks and things. And I'm hoping to put some other items with that for a giveaway. So I shall keep you posted kind of on progress and when that will be kind of going ahead. Yeah, so hope you liked my latest journal and things. That will be going in my Etsy shop shortly. And thanks ever so much for watching. Thanks for your support and things and comments. Really love reading them. And yeah, thanks very much, and Happy New Year once again. Thanks a lot. Bye.